Hi guys, Professor Pohl here with the Week 3 summary. Welcome. You made it through the first 2 weeks. We're well on our way here, so congratulations. And as you remember me saying probably at the beginning of the semester here, weeks 1 and 2 go together. Weeks 3 and 4 also go together, so do 5 and 6, 7 and 8. It's really important then that you read up on weeks 3 and 4 in the syllabus. It's so important this week that I would recommend that you actually read week 4 thoroughly in the syllabus before you go and work on the assignment for week 3, especially pages 12 and 13, because those will give you some really important details on the purpose of the literature review, what a good literature review looks like, and how to find good sources for your literature review, which, guess what? You're going to go ahead and find those sources for your assignment for week 3. So it's really important to be well versed in pages 12 and 13, really chapter 4 in general in the syllabus. That'll really help you as you move forward with working on week 3's assignment. In terms of assignments, you have no discussion this week. You only have the quiz and the reading and presentations from 3 chapters. Just wanted to give you a few quick things on literature review. Just a literature review in general. Again, we'll go over this a little bit more next week, but let's lay the foundation this week, the general foundation on a literature review. Remember that a literature review is not a research paper. Now, a good research paper will always include, at least almost always include, a literature review. It's very important. But the literature review is part of the research paper as a whole. You're going to complete a research paper, to complete it, at the end of this semester. But your literature review is basically, in layman's terms, you saying, I am aware of the research that has been done before me, and you're going to use the presentation of the research of others to set up your own research. I'll give you guys an example here that I always like to give. When I was completing my undergraduate work, part of a Model United Nations simulation was one of the classes that I took. We had about 60 delegates that were working on drafting a resolution, and 59 of those 60 people got up and they spoke. In fact, the only one who didn't speak was myself. And my professor at one point leaned over and asked me why. Why don't you go up there and say something? And, it wasn't because I was sick or anything. It was because people had kept saying the same things over and over and over again. One person would make a point, another person would refute it, the next person would come up and refute the person who was refuting the point with the same points as the person before them, and on and on and on. It was like a dysfunctional relationship. There was very poor communication. People just kept saying the same things over and over and getting the same result, right? The definition of insanity kind of a deal. They were doing the same thing over and over, and no one was listening to the other person. No one was adding any new information. And it became irrelevant, frankly, in my opinion, very quickly. And really, research is the same way. You don't need people saying the same things over and over again if it's not advancing the purpose of the topic, of the study, right? We don't need that. And so any good researcher includes a literature review because you want to know the work of those done before you. It'll form the foundation for your work. It'll lend validity and credibility to your work, right? And so it's really important to know what's been done before you, to be aware of that before you conduct your research, okay? And that's why we do the literature review. You'll notice that your assignment this week will include 3 things. First of all, you'll list the full citation of the source that you're using. You guys have done that plenty of times before on a reference page. You're just basically getting that part of the reference page out of the way, which is awesome. I always hated doing that part of the assignment. I hated the reference page. I don't know why. It's a strange pet peeve of mine. So you're already getting that done. Secondly, you'll list the abstract for each article. You'll see on the email that I send out this week, I'll include one of my favorite top 5 research studies of all time, and you'll see at the very beginning there is an example of the abstract. The abstract is at the beginning of every legitimate research article and will basically form the outline and the summary. Basically, here's what to expect, here's what was done, usually in just one paragraph. And then finally, you'll write a brief description of how the source will be used. So that's to get you thinking, how am I going to use this? How am I going to put this all together? Again, how is this article relevant to my study? It really sets you up well for next week's assignment. So there's a lot of footwork, so to speak, metaphorically speaking, this week, but it'll really set you up well for next week. And by the end of next week, week 4, you'll have your literature review done, which in my opinion is one of the hardest, if not the hardest, part of this entire research project that you'll be completing. It is the hardest for a lot of people, so you will have that one done. It's probably the most time consuming, to be honest. So if you guys have any questions, as always, please let me know, and here's to a great week.